think community and collaborations were always something really important to us, like from the beginning. As a kind of boutique brand, starting out, our marketing budget, wasn't huge. We couldn't really afford to be running ads all the time. So we went to more of just meeting people face to face. So that's where we do more wellness events, brands, or work with gyms, go find like expat community gatherings and do like booth events. And that also leads into like collaborations with complementary brands, like we've done with activewear and milk, and also some more fun ones. Like we did a music video with a T-pop brand. And we also did a sponsorship with Chula. They have a Grand Prix racing every year, which I didn't even know about. So they build their own electric cars, and we get to have our OLY sticker on the car. Just these little like fun collaborations where we kind of really connect with them and just casually let OLY fit into their lives.
Hello and welcome to episode 41 of the Exponential Show. Today it is a pleasure of mine to introduce Yanni and Leo, the co-founders of OLY Snacks. Thanks for spending your time with us today.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for inviting us.
The pleasure is all mine. Before we get started, just wanted to shout out our friends at True Digital Park for hosting us in their podcast room today. And for those of you who don't know, True Digital Park is outside of the office spaces and co-working facilities. They are the most comprehensive soft landing spots for international businesses and for international individuals here in Thailand. So if you're looking for business registration, visas, work permits, BOI, and business immersion, cultural immersion, and just across the entire gamut, True Digital Park is the space for you to be. So thanks again to our friends here for hosting us. Let's get to the first question that we ask all our guests is, what is your superhero origin story? So from what I've understood, you have a background in food science, in marketing and branding, and you're fitness enthusiast. So can you just maybe tell us a story of how those areas and backgrounds of your life brought you into founding of OLY Snacks?
Yeah, sure. I'll just start out with introducing myself.
Please.
As I'm Yanni, one of the co-founders of OLY.
And I'm Leo, co-founder of OLY.
Perfect. So if you could just share your journeys with us and what were the key milestones into the founding of OLY Snacks?
Yeah, so a little bit about my background, just like you mentioned earlier. A background in food science and nutrition, and Leo has a background in branding and design. So actually the idea of OLY started before we actually thought about OLY, if that makes sense. So if you hear about our background, it's quite different, but it's quite complementary at the same time. So that's why for a long time we just kind of had an ambition to make a product together, just because our complementary skills. And then so we started with around 2 years ago, just kind of looking at our own lives, what products were we wanting in our lives. What kind of problems did we face? What kind of thing could we make together? Improve in Thailand. That's how we landed to kind of 3 main points that are really important to us in our lives.
Sure.
So the first being that if we were to make a product, it had to be healthy, just because we're both quite health conscious people, like you said, like fitness enthusiasts for Leo. And the second was that we wanted convenience. Living in Bangkok, people are on the go, you're stuck in traffic, wanted something that we could make sure that we could bring anywhere. And third, we just wanted to enjoy working together, as partners as well. So something that was fun, that was enjoyable, and that could make people feel happy. And that's kind of the origin story of how we led to OLY and cereal.
So it's interesting. And was there a milestone or sort of a eureka moment that you had in your journey to realizing, okay, this is the product line we want to get into? Was there some moment, or was it just a long discussion that eventually ended up in that?
I mean, I think what we both like to do, and with the product that's high protein cereal with really fun branding, it just kind of clicked for us. for her liking food and being healthy, for me to like to design, work out, do branding.
Right.
It's kind of combined into this brand. It fits perfectly to our eyes.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, it sort of adds up, and like I said, there were already natural synergies that you mentioned between the both of you, and the fact that there was an overlap between the brand and the fact that you wanted to do something in the health space. It makes sense. Now, for those who have known me for some time, know that I'm a big cereal guy. So I really enjoyed my breakfast cereals for a long time, and then like most people in Bangkok, seemingly, I then switched to healthier alternatives. So I pretty much gave up all cereals, because all the cereals I like, without naming names, primarily chocolate ones, were all very high sugar. So if I had to make healthy choices, I had to give up that part of my breakfast. But I know for a fact that I'm not the only one making those changes. So if you could maybe talk about, just zoom out from your journey and talk about the key trends you're seeing in the industry that perhaps also informed you in your choice of launching this product line especially, and maybe talk a bit about your specific product line as well.
Sure. Yeah, just like you mentioned, over the last few years, customers have definitely changed their eating habits, right? Like, I feel like back then, when people thought about losing weight or being healthy, it was very like just cutting calories or eating basic healthy food like boiled chicken and broccoli. But nowadays, I think people are much more informed. You know, they actually read nutrition labels, read ingredients, maybe even track their protein intake, exercise regularly, and just take a more like preventative approach to what they're putting into their body.
Right.
So that's like kind of like the journey of how people are changing with their consumer habits. Yeah. And I think
And no, just sort of agreeing with you, and just was it something that you noticed? So was there sort of like some sort of a survey that you did, or was there some sort of input that you got from potential customers or potential audience while you were working on your products? Was there, or was it just between your community and between yourself, because you were already a part of that growing group of people who are more conscious about that health? So was it more of a personal decision, or was it more of a customer insight decision?
I think it's both. I think it's while we were working out, sometime in the morning we're just like really busy and we can't, find something quick and nutritious for us. Right. So we were looking around, and I feel like a few years ago, in Thailand, there was not many options out there that was good and also delicious and fun. So that was part one. And another one is just through our friends and communities that were just talking about how like they were looking for something that was healthy and quick.
Makes sense. Now, in that vein, could you maybe talk us through what the first few products that you have launched are, and just talk about some of the types of ingredients you're using, the types of flavors, because you mentioned it doesn't only need to be healthy now. It's no longer boiled chicken and broccoli world. So can you talk about both the taste aspect of the products that you've launched and the nutritional benefits? If you could just talk us through some of your products. I see matcha and I see strawberry, and I obviously see my favorite cocoa flavor as well. So there's could you just maybe tell us more about the product, the brand, the ingredients, and just everything that it encompasses?
Yeah, sure. Actually, so we started out with these two flavors first, which is our classic OLY wild honey and our cocoa flavors. So just like you mentioned all those things before, this was created to meet those needs of both convenient, taste, and with the branding being fun. So this was formulated with high in protein, low in sugar, and no fillers, no preservatives, no artificial flavoring. So you actually do feel good after eating it, and you don't get like a sugar crash and stuff. So that's kind of where this started.
Got it. And in terms of the ingredients, the primary protein that you're using, is it whey? Is it like if you could just maybe...
It's whey protein.
Got it. And in terms of the flavoring, you mentioned that you don't have artificial flavors or preservatives. So does that maybe even impact, for example, your shelf life or things like that? So were there areas where you had to navigate not using the traditional preservatives, and could you maybe talk about just what went into the product development side of things for you as well?
So we did work with an R&D facility to come up with this formulation, whereas for me too, I did some research on, how to make it grain-free. So when you play with protein, it actually changes the texture and the structure of the product a lot. So instead of, soggy cereal that just within 30 seconds just, melts away in your cereal bowl, R actually holds really well, and it's much more dense. So that's why it helps you keep full as well. Because of the high protein content, you feel fuller, and with the texture as well, as you're crunching on it, it just kind of psychologically you get more full, which is another, I think selling point of this product, that you don't have to eat too much, but you get the satisfaction. And I think that's something that, from our own needs and even just observing customers, a problem we wanted to solve with the traditional cereals.
Go ahead. Another thing that I would add too also is that we use real honey and real cocoa. So instead of traditional that just flavored, there's more real taste.
Interesting. So so you've mentioned obviously honey and cocoa. I think rank 1 and 2 in my favorite cereal flavors. So you, as a consumer, I'm very happy that those were the first two flavors you launched. But I see also on the table you've ventured into other flavors. So maybe if you could tease that for our guests as well.
Yes. Yeah. So these two flavors, which is our matcha and our strawberry. So these were more recently launched, and there are a plant-based version, which we call OLY Go.
I see.
So this is kind of OLY's way of venturing out to more experimental-ish flavors, whereas honey and cocoa give you that instant nostalgic feeling of your childhood and stuff, whereas these is more modern with the packaging style, not a traditional box anymore, but still very convenient and on the go. And it just came from listening to customer feedback that they wanted a bag size, or they wanted some flavors that could complement our honey and cocoa. So strawberry, mixes really well with chocolate, and matcha mixes really well with honey.
I see.
And we also innovated a bit more with these by having added vitamins instead. So kind of more vitamins with vitamin C, B12, just for both kids and adult, just a little added benefit on top of just protein.
Interesting. And it's interesting that you mentioned it's not just a new flavor, but also as opposed to whey protein, this is plant-based protein. Okay, interesting. And so you're essentially catering to sort of a different segment of plant-based people who prefer plant-based food, or people who are vegans. So it's interesting, but you also mentioned there was also sort of innovation in the formulation of including vitamins, and so it's not just a couple of new flavors, but there's packaging innovation, product innovation. So there's a lot that went, I'm assuming, behind these two flavors. So thanks for sharing that perspective. Now, we've talked about the fact that the market is moving in this new direction, but it's still, like I said, I grew up eating the Kellogg's and Nestle's of the world, and for a better part of 2 decades. From that to now, brands like yourself, we see that there's a shift towards more boutique brands, and I see more boutique brands not just on social media but also on supermarket shelves, which is an interesting thing, because the general narrative in the business world is that if you're competing with large FMCG companies, it's a very difficult road to go down. So can you tell us about the decision of entering an area which, at least as an outsider looking in, everything I hear is, oh, you're competing with big FMCG, or this is a difficult thing to do. So can you tell us about your experience competing with these guys, and what has worked, what has not worked? And I'm assuming the Nestle's and Kellogg's and these guys, I'm assuming, are also entering the health space. So how does that part of your story play out?
Yeah, so of course, I would say, being on the same shelf with like Kellogg's and Nestle is quite intimidating.
Right.
But at the same time, us starting this brand was never to beat them at what they're good at. It was kind of we discovered that there's these customers who are also walking in this aisle on the shelf that their needs weren't met. And I think that's where OLY comes along. Cereal has always been traditionally something that is tasty and convenient, right? Everyone goes to that aisle looking for a tasty and convenient breakfast option for themselves or for their kids. But now with consumers becoming more health conscious and just more modern with convenience and everything, when they walk in that shelf aisle now, I feel like, we create this new option where now it's also brings nutritional benefits and value. So I would say we're not like competing with them. We're just meeting like a different customer, but sharing, even though we're in the same category, but sharing very different customers is how we view it.
Yeah, I think that's a good perspective to have. But I imagine just making shelf on the space, because I dabbled into FMCG, at least not as a business, but I researched for a potential client where I understood that getting shelf space and managing shelf space in itself is a big hassle, especially with large chains. So I imagine that would have not been as straightforward as it was not as easy as you guys make it sound, essentially. So could you maybe talk us through the journey of sort of gaining eyeballs and gaining shelf space in that niche that you mentioned of more health conscious buyers?
I would say since we were pretty much we were the first Thailand's high protein cereal.
Interesting.
So we made branding that stood out, and like once we went to meet with the supermarkets, they starting to feel excited for our product. They were looking for something more healthy also. So I think that was like what helped us in the beginning.
Good to know. So it's sort of reassuring as a customer to know that there wasn't as much resistance as I perhaps thought there would be. So it's a good sign for people who are looking to think more about what they put in their mouth, essentially. Now, I think a big part of what you guys do is just building and catering to, like you said, Thailand's more health conscious community. So can you tell us more about the activities that you're doing with this community and the partnerships that you have established? For example, if I go to your Instagram, I see that you've done a lot of co-branded events and co-branded activations with a lot of different complementary players in this space. So can you tell us more about that side of strategy and how important that community is in your journey so far and the plans that you have for the future?
Yeah, I think community and collaborations were always something really important to us, like from the beginning. As a kind of boutique brand, starting out, our marketing budget, wasn't huge. We couldn't really afford to be running ads all the time. So we went to more of just meeting people face to face. So that's where we do more wellness events, brands, or work with gyms, go find like expat community gatherings and do like booth events. And that also leads into like collaborations with complementary brands, like we've done with activewear and milk, and also some more fun ones. Like we did a music video with the Teapot brand, and we also did a sponsorship with Chula. They have a Grand Prix racing every year, which I didn't even know about. So they build their own electric cars, and we get to have our OLY sticker on the cars. And it felt like, it's like F1 or something, but. Yeah, and just like, supporting these engineers and showing like, they're in the lab all night and something nutritious that they could snack on. And just these little like fun collaborations where we kind of really connect with them and, just casually let OLY fit into their lives.
Yeah, and I think for just almost like a cause-based business, so I've spoken to a few other people in the health and fitness space, both in terms of products and facilities. And for all of them, they mention the importance of building and growing a community around their brand that has helped them succeed. So it's almost like if I may call it, an industry trend where just the communities that you're building around your product and the people who buy into not just the product itself, but what it means, what it stands for, I think is an important thing you guys are doing. And I just, as a marketer myself, I see a lot of interesting work. So kudos on that part of the journey as well. Now, you mentioned maybe catering to expats as well. So I was just curious to know, between Thais and expats, do you see a clear preference of expats being drawn to this world more, or is it a better mix of both Thai and expat customers in your experience so far?
Yeah, I think in the beginning you would assume like, cereal, especially American breakfast cereal, catered to like the expat community.
Right.
But I think slowly now it's like more Thais. I think Thais, their consumer preferences has evolved into more of a Western style breakfast and lifestyle with the on-the-go lifestyle, and then also the gym habits, fitness habits. I think they've adopted from Western. So the food preference has also changed with that. I think for us right now, it's the Thai community has really been a big support. And,
awesome. Okay, good to know. And is that more of a metropolitan Bangkok specific trend that you're seeing, or are you also seeing it across Thailand, where you see demand for not just your product but just your category in general? Is that demand concentrated very heavily in just say Bangkok, or do you see in other cities as well just that demand playing out, and that shift in consumer preference, the shift in Thai consumer preference in other cities as well?
Yeah, throughout the years, like in the beginning, it grew from Bangkok, and then we started to have more customers from outside, and now it's pretty much all over Thailand.
Okay, interesting.
I would add that Phuket, like the islands, are really big too. I think the whole fitness scene there and health and wellness is really big. So just naturally, our product and our kind of product space thrives there.
Good to know. So that's an interesting perspective. Now, sticking to the topic of Thailand, obviously, so you mentioned that it is already a good place to be in terms of just not just the expats driving adoption, but like you said, the local culture has adopted to that lifestyle of being fit, working out, eating healthy. And I think that is a trend that is not as new as people think. I moved to Thailand 11 years ago, and even then I could see Thailand in general is a sports loving country and things like that. So it's just there's like random basketball courts and futsal courts under random bridges where kids are playing at 3 p.m. in the afternoon. So it is not a new trend per se, but perhaps the consumer products are catching up to that trend that I've seen in Thailand for quite some time now. So in terms of the consumer trends, even as an outsider, I can see that there was a clear demand for a product like this. But running a business in Thailand, have you seen any pros and cons of being here outside of that customer trend that you feel make it either easier or more difficult for you to build and operate this brand here?
Yeah, I think for like Thailand, the pros of being here is definitely, like you said, it's changing a lot. So at the same time, it's evolving. So there's a lot of opportunities to create something.
Right. Okay. And have you seen any challenges on the other end where you feel that there's still some roadblocks to starting a brand like this, or any sort of hurdles that you face along the way that you'd like to talk about? That could be Thailand specific or in general, some challenges that you faced. Is there anything that comes to mind?
Yeah, I think for challenges as well, with our product being high protein cereal, 2 years ago, I would say the overall protein market in Thailand was still quite new and viewed like a supplement, like protein powder.
I see.
Like to supplement to work out, build muscle and stuff. And at least for protein cereals, there was like no players at all.
I see.
So we were, it was quite niche for Thai shoppers or Bangkok shoppers, Thailand shoppers to like see this product. So we did have to educate a lot. Be like, what. Some have even like started from, what is cereal? It's like, oh, you guys remember Cocoa Crunch? You remember Honey Star? Or like that kind of stuff. To more of like, what is high protein? What's the point of eating more protein? What's the benefit? So I think that part may be a challenge in Thailand. But
and do you still see that education being a big part of what you do, or do you think that has now been largely taken care of?
No, I think we're still constantly trying to educate, and that's why we do the events and collabs.
I think the market right now has grown a lot. A lot of brands that are high protein came into the market, so it helped educating all these customers.
Good. So I think the education game is you are not the only ones contributing to that education. There's a whole bunch of brands, and not just food brands but fitness brands. There's like, we are having the second High Rocks event of the year, and it's only half the year so far. So I think there's a whole movement of fitness and fitness adjacent brands that are driving that awareness. So I think it's almost like a wave that everybody's riding together. So it's good to know. Now that brings us to sort of the final topic of the day, which is what's next. You mentioned you launched a couple of years ago, so since then you've launched your 2 original flavors, then launched new flavors, new formulations. You've done events, collabs. Now, what is the next big milestone or next target, next goal, next partnership you're working towards? Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Well, right now we started the brand just to kind of, in the beginning it felt like products in Thailand weren't healthy, or the branding was not international enough. So we tried a brand trying to help Thailand have more healthy, nicer branding. So that was the goal that we were trying to do, and I feel like so far right now in the market has changed a lot, and we're pretty happy to see that.
Good to know. It's interesting that you mentioned, because while you were talking, I read the packaging, and a lot of the actual content is English language. There's obviously the ingredients, everything are mentioned in Thai, but the marketing content essentially is all in English. Is that a conscious choice, or could you maybe talk us about the thought process of because in a lot of cases, even on shelf items, I see it's primarily Thai language content, Thai language marketing. So can you tell us about the thought process that went into this packaging?
I would say that it was we wanted to keep it looking premium, and people would understand that it's something that is different than normal snack on the shelf. So we have English to make it look more international.
Interesting. Okay. So that's a good perspective to have, and like I said, I think the community that you talked about is already adopting to international practices in terms of fitness, in terms of diet. So I think it's only a natural progression that they would be comfortable reading content in English and really resonating with this packaging, despite it being, like I said, more international. So perfect. So I think that brings us to the end of the conversation. It was a pleasure learning about your journey. Congratulations on how far you've come in these 2 years. And we'll follow your journey. We'll see what new products, what new activations you have up your sleeves, and we're rooting for you to do more fun stuff in the Thailand market.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Is there any quick message that you have for our audience before we wrap up? Anything about any lifestyle changes everybody should be making? Especially about their breakfast cereal choices. So no worries, we'll
conscious, read the label,
read the label. I think that's a good place to start, right? Just read the label on the stuff that you're eating, and I think that's a good place to start when it comes to conscious eating.
Don't only believe in the branding, also the ingredients in it too.
That's a whole different because branding is one thing, and reading the label, they're two completely different things. So I've seen a lot of brands that position themselves as healthier alternatives, which are not necessarily as healthy as the front of the packaging seems to say. So I think that's a good message to end our conversation. Thanks again, both of you, for taking the time. It was a pleasure speaking with you. Thanks to everybody who tuned in. If you like the content, make sure to subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.